This is our third edition of Wake Up Wednesday. I'm Karen Northcutt. I'm the Vice President of Southwest Louisiana Association of Realtors. And we have some inspectors with us today. So guys, if you'll just introduce yourself.
Jamie Bosey with Advanced Home Inspections.
And I'm Roland McCormick with House Call Home Inspection.
And how long have y'all been affiliates?
2 years.
I've been an affiliate here for going on 8 years now.
Okay, wow, great. We're glad to have y'all. Okay, so let's see, questions. So what do you do at your office?
Schedule inspections, reports, a lot of continuing education requirements from Louisiana State Board. So.
Yeah, all that back office work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm the owner of the House Call franchise here in Lake Charles, primary lead inspector and trainer, also continuing education provider for both home inspectors and real estate agents. Publishing reports obviously goes along with the inspection process, but 95% of my time is spent inspection to inspection. So
right.
That's where most of my effort is.
Okay, great. Okay, so first question is going to be, what are the minimum requirements for a home inspection in Louisiana?
So we follow the standards of practice mandated by the Louisiana Board of Home Inspection. And the systems that are required, and we're required to report on the electrical, the interior, the exterior, heating and cooling, insulation and ventilation, plumbing, appliance systems.
All kind of stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Each one of them systems, can have their own defects, or in some cases, we may not find anything wrong, could be satisfactory. And so.
Yeah, which very often is not the case, but yeah, you never know, huh?
And so what the state standard lays out is home inspectors must describe materials that make up the systems. And there's a minimum list of things. Every home inspector should give every client a copy of the state standard with every single home inspection. It's one of the things we're obligated to do. And within that, your clients can see what it is that we are minimally supposed to be identifying in the home. Beyond that, anything else that's identified, to include anything that's seemed as a deficiency or a default on the house, is the inspector's interpretation of it. So the minimum standard is outlining the descriptive points of the house, what the walls, floors, with pipes, ceilings, everything's made out of. So that's what the state minimum standard outlines for us.
Good to know. Good to know.
But both of y'all report on things above and beyond that. I know you were talking about how you don't just follow the minimum,
Yes,
but you do
ma'am.
much more.
So we're required to report a representative number of windows, a representative number of receptacles and doors. And I just can't get past that in my mind. I'm gonna look at every window because the one I won't look at may be broken.
Yeah.
It's just my nature.
We inspect all
It's a
operate representative.
good thorough inspection.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Next question is, do home inspectors, let me get my glasses so I can actually read the question. Do home inspectors check for up-to-date building standards?
So the answer to that is no. And this is a common misconception when we get phone calls all the time. I want to make sure my house is up to code. The answer is probably not. Code changes it roughly every 2 years. The current building standard for the state of Louisiana is 2015. Now, building standards and building code is what we train on. It's our only basis to train, but we can't enforce modern code on a house that was built in 1945. That house was built to a certain standard in 1945. Doesn't mean anything has to change today. Now, we will note some things that have to do with electrical updates that may be important safety, things like ground fault circuit interrupter outlets, old cloth wiring that's considered a safety hazard today. We will point out things like that typically, but nothing has to be brought up to current building standard as part of a sale of a property. It's just our basis of training, but we're not code enforcers. The individual jurisdictions decide what the codes are for their areas, and that can be separated. What Lake Charles is doing can be different than what Calcasieu Parish is doing. That's the reason we don't do code enforcement, because there's no way we'll
Right.
remember what every single town and parish, city is deciding to
requiring.
mandate on their coding, so.
So that's kind of what we call like grandfathered in.
Yeah, grandfather is a common term for it. It's just an application later than build date. Nothing has to be moved forward. Grandfathered is a colloquial term. There's nothing somewhere that says, hey, this house is
Right,
grandfathered. It's just
right.
an accepted term for it.
Okay. I guess a layman's term that a lot of realtors understand, or
Yeah.
people understand.
And you'll see that a lot where home inspectors will note something, a contractor will say, no, it's grandfathered, you don't have to change anything. It's not that your home inspector is trying to create strife or complications, it's just because it could affect the longevity of the home. We're making the clients aware of it's all it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next question is, how can a seller best prepare their home for the inspections?
Easy answer, making sure personal property is away from the things that we need to inspect. We need to remove the electrical panel. We need to get to the water heater. We need to be able to access the attic. I've been to home inspections where the garage is full of property and I can't get the attic ladder down.
Right.
We need to have access to those areas, and changing all the light bulbs in the house, making sure all the lights work. Because when it comes to buyers and reviewing an inspection, when I have a can light that doesn't work, I can say it probably the bulb, but I don't know that.
Right.
And unknowns are scary for somebody buying a house.
Yeah.
So you can take care of those simple things and make sure the inspector can access all the things and get rid of as many of the unknowns as possible. Makes the whole process go a whole lot easier and gets rid of a lot of the questions when a buyer walks away from that inspection going, we really don't know the condition of these items. You can fix a lot of that with simple things. Changing a filter on the AC is
Right.
one that never gets done. Some people don't know a filter is on an AC. So
Right.
that's what you have to, sellers can do to make it as easy as possible.
I think that's good for us as realtors to know that, because I mean, I guess I never really thought about it so much as people ask me, but to tell them about the light bulbs, I'm like, I get that almost every single time. I just need to let those sellers know ahead of time, hey, you know, if you have some burnout lights, change those light bulbs so there's no question.
And it's not so much like necessarily a big problem, it's the unknown of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the part we want to eliminate as much as possible are the unknowns.
And the filter, those are good things.
The other day I did an inspection where there was water, like, so you know, people keep consumables under the sink
Oh,
in
yeah.
bathrooms and whatnot. So the house was totally empty, but there was water underneath.
Uh-huh.
And so I gotta figure out where that water come from. And, you know, we dried it, but it was still showing, because it had soaked in there, you know, weren't sure
Right.
if it was behind the wall. So it took a couple days for it to dry out, and then we figured out, okay, it must have been from something else that was there,
It's
because
spilled or
we looked
leaked.
hard and there was no leaks.
Huh. Huh. You just
So
never know.
maybe, you know, good housekeeping, cleaning after everything's removed could help.
A spill or something like
Right.
that. Oh, yeah. That's a good thing too. Very good. Okay. You ready for the next question? All right. Are all home inspections the same? Simple question, simple answer.
Right, not necessarily,
Mhm.
so you have typical homes, brick homes, homes on piers, and then you also have manufactured homes, which there's quite a bit difference on them, like so things can go wrong in the transportation of them.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
There's quite a few steps that it goes through, you know, going from the manufacturer to the sales lot, from the sales lot to your home.
Okay, so let's see. What is the benefit of doing infrared testing, as well as other things that y'all may use or don't use, in an inspection?
So infrared testing is a aid to where it allows me to see things that you couldn't see with your eyes because it's infrared. And infrared is basically the measurement of heat,
Kinda like Superman?
sort of. So
Okay.
just think of heat and and how heat transfers. So
Okay,
and
cool.
if there's a cool spot from moisture, you know, it'll show up. It'll be a large contrast in the picture.
Behind the wall a little bit? Is that what
Can
it
be,
does?
it can be on the surface, it can be behind, you
Okay.
can see the studs behind a wall,
Oh, yeah,
because it's called a thermal bridging in between surfaces.
okay,
So, but it helps to really see things that you just can't see with the
the
eye.
naked eye,
Yes, ma'am.
okay,
And so, use it for moisture, we also use it for electrical. And I forgot to say, with moisture, we don't use it by itself, we also use a high quality moisture meter to confirm, because the infrared can be tricky with different surfaces. And so we use a moisture meter to go and say, okay, we confirm the moisture, and then we can try to, investigate from there, where's the source of it?
right.
So,
I guess any of those, technical things really, I mean, I guess they're not perfect, so you use a backup maybe of some
sometimes it could be
things.
misleading.
Yeah,
So, but it is a great aid, and so
Right.
for electrical panels, a quick look at all the electrical connections without having, you can see all the breakers that are hot, or terminations, okay,
Mhm.
if there's one conductor in there that's hot, investigate that, use a follow-up with, and again, we'll follow up with a current meter, say, okay, well, how much current is it drawing?
right,
Is it-
right.
Is it more than that breaker, than what it's supposed to be, or is it just?
So you're saying there's a lot more to these inspections than we come to the walkthrough and find out from y'all, basically.
Yes, ma'am.
You're doing so much behind the scenes that we don't have a clue about. So that's good to know, for realtors to know.
For every hot spot in a breaker panel, just FYIs, you may see a hot breaker, it may be a arc fault interrupter, and it may be warm from all the others. It's nothing to be alarmed about, because they kind of operate more
Yeah,
from the internal
Oh.
components. And
gotcha.
so,
Okay,
and so that kind of helps when we report that, knowing them differences. So we're not gonna send you off to an electrician every time.
right, for
For-
little minor things.
Right.
Okay,
And-
Good to
and specialized tools are about fact finding, and when you start talking about reporting on a house, it's about accumulation of facts, and indicators that we see that tie together, that all support each other, as there might be an underlying challenge or issue going on. So anybody that uses any specialized tools, do them as part of a collective means of the inspection, not as a standalone, this is the only thing I'm gonna use.
right,
You do have some, like, for example, I have sewer scoping capability where I can actually run a camera through the interior of the waistline. If I have plumbing backups, or I have a house that has old galvanized piping or cast iron piping, I can actually shoot a high def video inside the waistlines and identify things going on inside. So every inspector is gonna make a choice based on what they're comfortable with and what their training might be it thermography or sewer scope in my case. Mold mildew sampling, all those things, they all get different training and certification, allow them to apply different techniques to a house as part of the inspection, so.
okay, good deal.
Rolling with house call home inspection. House call home inspection is been in Lake Charles now for 8 years. Things that we do that may be a little different than other home inspection companies is we're fully licensed in termite and pest control. So every home inspection, we do a free wood destroying insect report as part of that inspection. We're also trained and certified to do sewer scope inspections on older houses or any house. We can actually view the interior of the sewer system. The benefits of using why I believe the benefits of using house call is we produce a report on site, printed full color photos, placed in a binder with create an owner's manual for the client as they're buying the house. It's easy to schedule. You can go to www.homeinspectionswla.com, or you can call 337-401-1662, and Kim will gladly get you on the calendar as soon as possible.
I'm Jamie Bosey with Advanced Home Inspections of Southwest Louisiana. We serve all of Southwest Louisiana, from basically DeRidder area down to Cameron, and as far as probably Jennings. And, we use advanced software that cues us to look at all the systems in a home and It's a methodic program. Keeps us from missing items. We're also the only certified in Louisiana, in Southwest Louisiana, to do commercial properties. We're certified with the Certified Commercial Property Inspectors Association. We also offer a buyback guarantee program where if we miss something that's a major financial burden on the buyer, we'll buy the home back at whatever the cost was for the buyer. We're certified by InterNACHI with over 20 certifications, some including mold, infrared, roofing, HVAC systems. I have 30 years experience of doing electrical and HVAC systems, which helps in determining when and when not to call contractors for problems. So please call us for you. We also have a move-in certified inspection. It's for basically if the seller wants to have an inspection, we'll go put a sign in the yard that says move-in certified. It kind of gives some relief to the buyer. And also we give, now that you've had your home inspected, it's just like this one. This is the commercial properties. Now that you've had a commercial property inspection, we also have one for home buyers. Each home buyer, when they get an inspection, a free book is included. So this is the buyback program. And this is just saying that I'm a certified professional inspector with InterNACHI. They're like the leader in the country pretty much for home inspectors. They offer so much. It's $500 a year. They offer like everything from how to do taxes, business. I mean everything. It's marketing, the whole thing. For your home inspection needs, please call us at 337-512-0210, or you can go to our website, ahiswla.com. We have a lot of information on our site. If you just want to go there and browse and download some of the documents, feel free to do so. Thank you.
All right, well, great. Thank y'all so much for being here. But before I say that, is there anything I wanted to add to what we've talked about today?
No, ma'am.
I think we've covered all the bases, and it's very informative. I know from a realtor standpoint, after being a realtor for several years, I still learn something. It seems like every time I've talked to an inspector. So, all right, well, thanks so much. This was our third Wake Up Wednesday and went really well. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.